Good morning. It's great to follow that presentation because what we're trying to focus on at Nissan is exactly that. How do we move really what's happening with our customer experience? Move next. Okay. So I think we all understand the different global issues that we're trying to face as we design the automobile nowadays. Congestion, CO2, accidents, and then what's really needed. Everybody's focusing on what autonomous can do for us right now, but at the same time, we know that we've been pushing out new ways for powertrain and mobility with the electronic standpoint, and then identifying the connected platforms as that base that really drives the foundation of the ecosystem. Inside of Nissan, we've identified two corporate pillars for ourselves to really target what we want to do. One, what is zero emission? With our Leaf platform, with well over 200,000 sales, we feel we're well on the way. And then driving towards zero fatalities. Zero fatalities is not something that we've started working on recently. It's actually something that we started with our Safety Shield programs well over 10 years ago. You can look at some of the benefits that we've been able to achieve in the last 10 years, where we've achieved anywhere between 55 and 65% of serious or fatal accidents with putting our Safety Shield technologies in. This is really great, but it's really an old feature-based structure that we had in developing our systems. So what have we started to talk about? We've started to talk about intelligent mobility. It's really understanding what we're trying to do as a corporation and then move into something new. How do we still provide our innovation excitement for everybody, our corporate directive, but move it into intelligent mobility, combining what we do with driving from the autonomous standpoint, power in the different types of way we can move vehicles right now, as well as integrating completely different functions and driver experiences into the vehicle itself. Focusing in and around the customer, not just from the customer standpoint of what is the feature that the customer wants to have on this trim level or that trim level, but really understanding how do you drive quality? What does it feel like for quality now? Matt mentioned the fact that people want to get into the vehicle, they want to connect automatically, and they want it to be quick. That's quality. Excitement through innovation. What does it really mean? So when you have your car today, you purchase it, you walk away, and what do you do next? Really believe Tesla is completely changing how we're thinking in the business environment for each of the automobiles. It's a great challenge to have. So how do we, as the 9 or 10 million unit producer with our alliance partner Renault, change how we operate today? It's really exciting, a difficult time in the company, but a great challenge. So our teams, from the business team on my side to the engineering team that supports and delivers what we're asking them to do, how do we really forge ahead, change the world that we live and drive in? While we manage different expectations in the same platform, autonomous. Customers are asking for safety. They're asking for a truly stress-free environment. They're asking for free time. But at the same time, we know the people who are driving the Nissans really still love to enjoy driving pleasure. So how do we create a system that is inside of the vehicle, seamlessly can move from autonomous into a manual driving mode that our customers are really wanting to enjoy? From a history standpoint, Nissan's been in the connectivity game for quite some time. CarWings, our global platform, first launched in '97 in Japan, delivering the operator service as well as information carrier and customer call support, to today where we have our Infinity InTouch platforms as well as Nissan Connect. Developed in a traditional way, takes quite a while to get the platforms out there, but at the same time, the customer is expecting us to move quickly. So as we look at it now from a Nissan standpoint, really looking at how do we transition from traditional connectivity to true human interface, going out and getting those user experience engineers from the consumer electronics world and developing new user interface items for us, whether it's from the car or the interaction with the car or your cell phone into the car or the wearables or other items that our customers are really asking us to create this seamless end-to-end experience for ourselves. When we look at the different customer expectations, how they're starting to talk to us and what they are asking us to deliver all around the globe is completely different, but some really key themes seem to keep popping up over and over. They want their seamless life. It doesn't matter if we're here in North America, if we're in China, or if we're in Japan or Europe or India, that seamless life is where people want to be. How many of us use, outside of work, our PCs as the main interface nowadays? No. I mean, everything is starting to really transition through your phone or your iPad. People are really looking to have that sort of seamless experience when they've been working on their phone, and then they walk into their car, and they expect our platform to know what they've been doing. Peace of mind. Really, what is peace of mind about? It's hard to say. It can be safety for one person. It can be the ease of accessing your features for another person, but we need to make sure that the interface and the structure that we have inside of the vehicle, front seat or rear seat, is able to deliver that peace of mind. New driving experiences. Our typical platform lives 7 to 10 years. The infotainment systems are changing every 18 to 24 months now. How do we continue to deliver these new driving experiences on platforms and structure that, from a white body standpoint, have to last 7 to 10 years, from a software standpoint, are going very, very fast. The challenges that we have when we talk with our vehicle engineering team is very, very different. So how do we deliver that new drive experience in a vehicle that's under development, that we don't even know what the driving experience looks like today? As well as the opportunity for data. What is our customer really doing in the car? What do they do in the front seat, in the back seat? How do they interface with it? And it's not just for us from an internal standpoint, but then using the data and the interface so that we can create those new experiences for our customer. We recently started to show our new platform, our IDS concept, for how we're trying to define intelligent mobility. We know that it's going to come based from a fully autonomous platform that will be putting our first vehicle on the road in Japan in the summer of this year, followed soon thereafter by a lane-changing capability a couple of years after that. But what does it mean for the interior of the vehicle? The interior is a completely new and open concept right now. Our styling teams are absolutely loving what this could possibly do for us and driving us nuts a little bit at the same time, because what they want to be able to do is really to be able to communicate in completely different ways. What can we do with these beautiful screens? What's happening with OLED technologies that we've been looking at in the industry for a long time and now are coming to life? What happens when the customer wants to interface from a driving standpoint? As well as how can we communicate with the customers that are outside of the car? We have mobility issues where we're having cars that are so quiet and we're moving around and we want them to be autonomous. How do we communicate as somebody's coming up to a corner and say, yes, we recognize that you're there, please continue to walk through the crosswalk? May not seem like a big issue here in certain cities in North America, but I can guarantee you when you're driving in Tokyo or other large cities, it's a very significant issue for that communication that you can and can't have in and out of the vehicle when you're driving autonomous. So from here, I'd just like to thank you for your attention this morning, and that's it. If we have time for a couple of questions.
Yes, we do. We definitely do. So I'd just like to remind everyone to submit your questions via Slido, but I can also walk around with a microphone just now if anyone has any questions. You put your hand up and be a bit patient with time. I know it's early in the morning, but I'm sure someone has something to ask.
Not enough coffee yet.
Well, don't be shy. There we go. Oh, it's Roger.
Can't go away without a question after such a wonderful presentation. So we do have a big problem that seems to be getting bigger in our industry of maintaining a connection to our customers and finding them when there's a recall. And of course, there's not a lot that can be done to correct the lack of the connection with cars that are already on the road. But what is happening, since you have more of a global perspective on this, what is happening around the world, and what special measures might Nissan be taking to find those cars and get them in and get them corrected that have safety-related recalls?
So a couple of the things, that's a great question. The first is really having a platform that can communicate globally. That back-end system that today is very, very regionally based and not well connected to the central engineering team. We bring everybody in, we understand what the recalls are, we know which vehicles are developed and then distributed globally, but the paper-based structure for how you do it is extremely labor-intensive and quite difficult from a reporting standpoint. One of the items that we're looking to transition to is a new global back-end platform. And one of the expectations for that is the communication of not just what's happening for apps and infotainment, but back into the plant, back into the master office, so that we can have a better understanding and touch of our customers for when they've brought the vehicle in, identifying to them when you should bring a vehicle in for safety-related items. It's extremely important for us when we consider the customers that will be adapting these new systems, such as autonomous. If there's an issue, we need for them to come in. We want them in because we want to be able to take care of it right away.
Great. Thank you. Are there any other questions? Yep, there's one at the front here.
Hi, I'm Lily Gulick, and I'm with Oracle, and I really enjoyed your presentation. I own a Nissan Leaf as well as a Tesla, and I appreciate the update. My question for you is about the strategy of Nissan. If you're going to be going into owning cars and providing a driver as a service or transport as a service as an overall future strategy. We're seeing here in the U.S. a lot of rideshare opportunities and perhaps a prediction of the demise of car ownership. So I'd love your opinion on that.
My opinion, yeah. That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Shared ownership is definitely something that's under consideration inside of Nissan. We definitely know that new ownership experience is part of what we need to be able to have our cars support. There are some areas of the world where people are very interested still in individual ownership, but at the same time, as Matt mentioned earlier, other parts where people give up their car and go for mass transportation. A lot of interesting studies out there, some that say that cars will drop in volume, others that are out there that say with these new shared ownership experiences, it can actually increase in volume because the usage would go up and then the one-time benefits are there. I can tell you that as with the other OEMs, we're interested in partnering with companies for new mobility experiences and making sure that independent of where the industry goes, our platform, especially with the Nissan Leaf right now, is flexible to move into those different ownership experiences.
Thank you. We've actually just had one sent in from the audience, as you see on the screen. What is Nissan's timeline for commercially available level 4 autonomous vehicle? Quite a big one there.
The easy ones. Level 4, there are no difficulties in delivering level 4. Nothing about sensor technology or legislation or anything like that. I think as our CEO has said multiple times, when we look to get into first the city environment, which is 2020 and beyond, that's really the first big step. After that, from a level 4 standpoint, where we take the start to take the driver out of the system, it's sometime after that. The work that needs to happen in between local government, the global governments, and then what really has to happen from a trust standpoint with the consumer is going to drive when some of this takes place. So,
Are there any other questions from the audience as well? Well, in that case, thank you very, very much for your time.
thank you.